Today, we are doing Mysteries with the History on a Wednesday. Why? Because we're celebrating the 4th of July a day early, and on top of that, sorry, I got like red lipstick on my teeth. On top of that, we're going to be doing our very first Q&A, Jimmy and I together. So if you have burning questions inside of you, place them in all caps in the live chat, if and only if you're watching this live. So let me bring in my co-host, Jimmy Church of Fade of Black Radio. Jimmy, happy Wednesday! It's not
Oh,
even
oh,
Thursday today.
I have myself muted. I was yelling in here. Yay! Happy 4th of July, everybody. An AUA. Ask us anything.
You got a big brain.
You need to
Big brain
trademark
energy.
let's trademark that. You know, I have a feeling that's going to be a lot of fun. Of course it is. It's going to be great. We should do more of these. We should do more. People are always asking us questions and we never get to all of them, and we should do more. Well, let's see, let's test the waters, let's jump in the deep end of the pool. It's the 4th of July. Yeah. It's what's strange for me is watching different social media and websites and the things, shopping or whatever. Everybody is 4th of July recipes, the ultimate 4th of July dessert, the ultimate barbecue, the best way to cook the best. It's you know what? I like it. I do. I dig it. I dig it. When you were a kid, as we get into this, when you were a kid, how did you guys celebrate the 4th of July? Did you have block parties and all the neighbors, blowing stuff up?
So both of my parents are immigrants, and so we would crash someone else's party.
Mm-hmm.
That was all usually also not from the States. And we would just have a flippin' blast because we would make it as American as possible. Go for the barbecue. Everyone was decked out in their American t-shirt. We were all singing the national anthem. And of course, there were fireworks as well. But I think one of my favorite 4th of July ones was when I used to actually go to horse camp. I know I was one of those kids. And it was like this just super a really awesome horse camp, and I went there during the 4th of July, and they had like the most amazing fireworks ever. And I thought to myself, this is why I'm alive, for this exact moment. So much fun. But Jimmy, let me ask you this. What had to be one of your all-time favorite 4th of July events before we get into the live chat with their questions?
The smaller the town, right? The smaller the city, the better it is for some reason.
Yes.
Yeah. And so two things like instantly pop in my head. One, Ashland, Oregon, tiny town, and I'm up there for the 4th of July. And at that time, I had family that was living there. Anyway, so I'm there, and I'm probably in my early 20s or so. Their 4th of July parade down Main Street some things you just can't make up. Had every class from the elementary school in the parade marching in a perfect square, right? It's kindergarten, first grade, second grade with flags, and just so and I'm like, man, big lump in my throat. This is what it's all about. And I never forgot that parade. And I remember that, and then we'll move on. I remember like the Today Show was there, right? The Today Show. It's a big TV show. They're there broadcasting live, and there was all of these. And I thought, what's? And it's capturing that part of America and Americana. It was just absolutely amazing. The second one that comes to mind was Mammoth Mountain in California, up there for the 4th of July, which is a ski resort town, right? And their fireworks display. This is a tiny town. I don't know how many people live there during the summer. I don't know, a few thousand maybe, right? It's not very big. And so, but everybody kept talking about this like the nation's greatest fireworks display. And it's one of the, you kind of go, right. Okay. So So we drive to this lake, and it's packed full of cars, and we get our parking. And I watched the most amazing fireworks display I have ever seen put on by the town of Mammoth in Northern California. It was absolutely breathtaking. And I've seen them at Pasadena, the Rose Bowl in New York City. You know, I've done all of that. That was crazy. That was crazy. So those are the two for me. Those are the two.
Nice.
Do you
Nice.
agree? And I'm going to pop this into the chat. Let's get a reaction. Do you agree that Americans that were born here, right, generational, don't appreciate the 4th of July as much as somebody or a family that has immigrated here?
Yes.
Because they are full on. Right?
Yes, they go hard when those that are just coming to the United States, or when they get their citizenship, they celebrate the 4th of July very profoundly. And then you have those that have been celebrating it every year that live in the States. It's not the same unless you go to like different parts of the United States. Some are more passionate about it than others. But no, you're right. Those that are not from the States will celebrate it hard. It's kind of like St. Patrick's Day. You know, it's everyone outside of Ireland will celebrate it so much harder than the Irish.
Yeah, that's probably true. But I've just noticed that, you know, especially here in Southern California, where you know, I'm in the minority here, right? We have such a mix of everything that is here. It's great. I love it. That's why I live here. But man, those 4th of July celebrations from those families that have come to the United States, they are celebrating.
Oh yeah.
And it's really cool. All right, let's get to some questions.
All right, I have them flagged. So Cindy asked the first one, saying, of all places to visit, where would you go first? Oh, the Bridgewater Triangle in Massachusetts.
That's where you would go first. Of all the places to visit, where would you go first? Oh, okay. Places that we haven't been, right? Yeah, right. So for you,
I would assume so.
Bridgewater Triangle. You know, I got that question handed to me yesterday, and from Cristina. I think it was you, Cristina, 2 nights ago, last night. We were talking about, well, anyway, Devil's Tower. Devil's Tower. Didn't we talk about that? Wasn't that?
I can't remember. We've had so many conversations.
Right.
But I thought we talked
about it the other night on the phone, late at night. I was talking. I thought it was you. It just shows you what I'm like after the show. Devil's Tower. Devil's Tower. I would like to go to Devil's Tower.
That's a good one. Lou says, I'm proud to say my birthday is on the 4th of July, and my question is simple. Cristina, when's your birthday? Lou Elizondo and I share the same birthday. Now you know. And thank you so much for that and supporting the channel. And Jimmy, we all know your birthday is in October.
Yep.
But is it... What's the exact day? Is it the...
It's the 10th. October 10th. October 10th. Do you hear your birthday? Do you see it like in movies, or
I don't celebrate it.
No. The date itself. Do you hear it out there or see it? You don't, man.
No.
Okay, I hear October 10th all the time.
Really?
I was watching a movie the other day, End of the Earth, whatever thing, and it might have been the new. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so what does it say? Well, it says right here it's going to happen tomorrow on October 10th. I'm just like, it's just like weird. It happens all the time for me. I don't know, and I'm sure it's the same with everybody. You buy a new car, you drive down the road, all you see is other people driving your car, right?
I've heard of that. Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't. I haven't seen that too much, but I get what you're saying. And right now we have a lot of people sending in questions. Thank you guys so much. But I will say those that are super chats are going to go first, and then we're also going to go in chronological order after. Mark Tasaka, thank you so much. As always, Jimmy, please do the honors of saying his last name.
Mark Tasaka in the house. Happy 4th of July, Mark.
All the way from Canada. So thank you for that. And W. Ducker says, happy birthday, Lou. Happy 4th to Cristina and Jimmy and everyone in the U.S. Cheers to our friends in the world. Yeah, right back at you.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, right on.
And
right on.
Android says, if you could each go back in time to when you started podcasting, what would you tell yourself about what you've learned about the paranormal? Jimmy, I'll let you answer that one first. Thank you, Android.
You know what? You know what I would tell myself? You're going to find out nothing, but keep going. Don't stop. There's not, you're going to get to the end of the road and you're not going to have any answers, but you're going to have more questions. That's what I would tell myself. What would you tell yourself?
Pertaining to the paranormal, it would be something along the lines of yours, Jimmy, of just keep going. You're going to find some cool stuff, whatever you deem as cool, because that has changed over the last few years. But there will be a convergence between the paranormal, the UFOs, and cryptids. So just keep trucking along.
Soon. You know, the other day, let's stay on this for a second. I didn't tell you about this. I did talk about it on the show. I don't know when it happened because it happened over the weekend. I came in the studio on Monday morning and 2 guitars over here in the corner, that green PRS and this Ibanez. You can't see them. They're off screen. The guitars continue that way, right? But the 2 guitars are on the floor. And I walked in and I just looked and so nothing, the hanger, nothing is damaged. The guitars are on the floor. And I step back and I pull on everything's fine. In fact, I looked at the guitars. They didn't seem to be damaged. One was, I found out later. Anyway, I hung them back up and I stepped back and went, okay, what do you do with that? Right now, so back to the question, right? And the answer, what would you tell? I don't know what caused that. I only have the experience, right? So that forces you to continue the journey, right? That's it. I don't know. I was thinking, did we have an earthquake? And then why didn't other stuff fall? There was nothing out of place. I didn't feel an earthquake. I didn't hear it happen. So I don't know what time of day. I don't know any of that. They were just on the floor and in the corner on top of each other. It was bizarre. So that's the paranormal, and that when things like that happen in your life, whether you're seeing something in the sky or you see a ghost or dreams that have whatever it is, paranormal, supernatural, you may not, get the answers that you seek right away, but go on the journey, go and try to figure that out. And that's what I would tell myself. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't give up and don't marinate your carpet with salt. Put a lot of salt in order to protect your house. If you have some kind of weird haunting, because I learned that one the hard way. I had this weird thing happen in my place. I had a haunted vacuum, and instead of pouring a lot of salt everywhere, I was just like a little sprinkle here, a little sprinkle there.
I forgot all about the haunted vacuum. I forgot about that. That's
it's
right.
One of my favorite stories. I mean, it's so funny now. It was not funny then. And Doc, thank you so much as well. It says, love Christina's show, especially on Thursday when you and Jimmy are on. You guys have such great chemistry. Thank you so much. Now, to get to some questions, another one is by 3 Shift. It says, did you ever check out the book Tal, A Conversation with an Alien? I've never heard of it. Jimmy, have you heard of that book?
I have heard of it. Hold on for a second. Now, this is where I'm going to look this up because this is, and then lots of questions. We'll get to them all. I don't want to spend a conversation with an alien. I want to see the cover. Something is reminding me of this. Yes. 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 I have read it. Yeah. Yeah. I have read it. I have read it. There is, I don't have it here. Christina, just remind me of there is another version of this because this is written by Anonymous. There is another version of this very similar from like 1932, which I do have that book too as well. I just don't have it right here in front of me. Um, and I wish if we took a break, I could go and grab it, but we're not. We don't do that. So, but the answer is yes, and it's a great book and it's a great read. And there's another version of this from like 1932, and it's translated. I think it's Dutch. And there's an American version of it, and it has since been made into a movie that is also very, yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it right there. Yeah. Yep, I have it, and it's an amazing read. It's pretty good. You know how good it is, and I'm glad it's anonymous. I almost did a video of this. I was going to read the book with graphics, in like 10 episodes, right? And like do an audiobook and then apply graphics to it and just and pop it up on YouTube. It's really that good. That's a great question. That's a great question.
I'll
Everybody
have to
should
put
check
it on
it
my
out.
list. I need to put it on
Okay.
my list. So
Are we go-
Wood,
okay.
I have them all starred. Wood says, "What was the name of the warp drive that last night guest was talking about, Jimmy? Was it the
The
Alcubierre drive?"
Alcubierre drive. That's the warp drive, the Alcubierre drive.
It's weird.
The other drive that he was theorizing does not have a name, but it would involve the KK graviton, a particle that hasn't technically been discovered yet. So there you go. One was with gravitons, KK, and the other one was the Alcubierre drive. Lots of documentation out there on the Alcubierre drive and the warp drive and its principles, and it's been updated over the years. Alcubierre, and it's spelled just like you think.
Yes.
Alcubierre.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, there
And
you go.
Jamie or Jaime says, "Do you think a massive march on Washington would make a difference, like the Million Man March back in the 90s?" What do you think about that, Jimmy?
Yes, absolutely. And Jaime, thank you for that. I have myself and many others have talked about organizing something like this for years. Like before disclosure was kind of even a word, right? It's a thing now, but yeah, and when the what was that thing called? The raid Area 51, right?
Oh
And
yeah, it had potential,
it had potential.
but it
And
failed.
now, so you had whatever it was, right? You had millions of people going, let's go, right? So you had the National Guard on alert. You remember that? The extra
Yes.
security brought in and nobody showed up. But I think that shows the drive of social media and the ability to reach out. So as an organizer, could that be put together? And could we have a disclosure march, right, down to the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Mirror Pool, and have some speeches and have a day there? I think it would be great. I think the media that's why you do it. Whatever it is that you want, the world to know about, you do it there, and the media comes in and they talk about it, and it gets that exposure. So I think it's a great, 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 great idea. Yeah, and maybe we should stop talking about it and just get it done.
And just go for it. Well, I mean, people have been planning it, like you said, for quite a few years, but it's just hard to get a lot of people to participate in it. Now, I think that if people with like really big platforms, like celebrities, start considering it and talking about it, then I think maybe it would have a better push. I mean, a great example is Taylor Swift. Like all of her concerts are always sold out across the world. They were jumping so hard in one country or state that they created an earthquake, so they say. I don't know. But what I'm getting at is those kinds of people that have just these massive followings would have a better influence to create a march like that than I think your average person. But I think if we all have that same goal, then it would be beneficial. Now, John says, in your opinion, what is the best evidence to date that the general public has in its possession that suggests aliens are visiting Earth? That's a really good question, because I think that we have not received the smoking gun evidence just yet. We do have a lot of great cases and researchers and even videos, but like these smoking gun evidence, I don't think we've seen it just yet. But I think what Roger Lear has done was really significant, really collecting evidence with doing surgeries, extracting probes from people that have been allegedly abducted. I think that's pretty significant. And of course, the Tic Tac, the gimbal, and the Go Fast footage that was authenticated by the Pentagon, I think does make a big difference as well. But Jimmy, you're kind of like, I see the cogs moving in your brain. What had to be one piece of information that was
Yeah, well, okay. So, do we go with the idea that the secret is being kept with us, that the evidence is in our possession, we just haven't seen it yet? Or do we go with what is the best evidence that has made its way to the public, right? Which way do we go with this? So when you go into the evidence side of things, I think Travis Walton is a very powerful case. Polygraphs, multiple witnesses, and so forth. So there's things about the Travis Walton case when you're asking for something like that. You have that. You have multiple witnesses, and polygraph, and a story that just has not wavered. You have that. But then the other best evidence that has made it to the surface, putting the Nimitz aside, the Roosevelt aside, because I don't know if that's, again, that's witness testimony. Everything there, right? Fravor or whoever, right? The witnesses that have come forward have a story to tell. They're professionals. But what they don't have is the stuff to back that up. Radar, everything else, the video that has been released is not good enough, right? And then you flip it over and you've got to go to something like Rendlesham. Rendlesham is powerful. Roswell is too. Lots of documents, but Rendlesham is a modern case. It's a military case, and the witnesses are still here. The evidence that we have, again, is eyewitness testimony. We have the paperwork, right? But do we have a piece of landing gear? Do we have this? Little fragments to me don't count. And I keep saying that over and over again. The smoking gun, right? The chair from the sport model. That's what I want to see. Right. That's, give me that. One of the I-beams from the Roswell crash. Would that be cool? Yeah. Whoo, man. But again, it's always one step away, isn't it? It's just out of reach.
That part is very true. And for those that want to ask questions, place them in all caps in the live chat. Getting on to our next one, Jimmy. This one's for you, by R. Newman. And it says, have you saged your house, brought in a ghost whisperer, or done anything else recently to persuade your poltergeist to leave?
I don't want it to leave. We've got a relationship.
Friends, right?
Yeah. We've got a relationship. If the guitar flew off the wall and hit me in the head, I'm bringing in professionals, right?
That's a good move.
Yeah. But I'm okay with it. I've had a few professionals come by the house, and I'll bring up one because we've talked about it on the air, Amy Hoyt. And Amy's one of the best psychic mediums in the country, in the world, and she happens to be my neighbor. And I went to Egypt with her and her fiance, husband. Maybe they're married now, Romeo. It's weird. We're neighbors, and Romeo was just at my house. I didn't ask him if they got married yet. It's kind of weird. Now I'm feeling guilty about that. So Amy comes over. She's gifted. Cristina, she's the real deal, right? Like, I see dead people, kind of, right? The real deal. She comes into my house. She goes, "Church, we got to talk." I go, "No, I don't." She goes, and she's looking around. She's like, "No, I don't want to know." There's no, I think no, Amy, stop. Keep it just, I'm cool. Yeah. And she ended up, when you do that, she still said some stuff, right? Like using pronouns. I'm like, I don't want to know. Jeez. So that's where I'm at. No saging, no salt, no herbs. I do, you know what I do burn? Check this out.
Incense.
I'm out, actually. I'm out. My headset fell off. So I have real sage, right? I have real sage.
What's
But I have
sage?
this really, 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 really cool incense here. And clearing incense. And it is absolutely incredible. You ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
I've got one left.
Ooh.
That's it. I've got to get
the
more.
Scent?
It's mainly sage. It's a mix
so it's
of
like sage scented incense.
Yeah, it's all the ingredients are right here, but it's mainly sage, but so good. But that's it. I started out, I had like 3 of these, and I, you never think you're going to run out. Okay, what's next?
All right. Next one is by Paul. It says, "Hey, both question. Would you ever consider doing a show in the field of UFO spotting? So with your night vision goggles and gadgets, etc. Not sure how feasible it is technologically. Thanks." Yes.
The answer is Cristina and I are making plans. Yes. He's got gear. I've got gear.
We did a whole show on gear.
We did a whole show on gear, and coming to your town soon. So the answer is yes. And, well, I think that see, Cristina and I have the same vision when it comes to this. Getting the process on film, documentary type of filmmaking, and putting everything together, and then going through the processes, and then visiting these locations. I try to, all the locations that I go to, I shoot as much video as I can for whatever reason. But Christina's got the same mindset. That's what she went to college for, right? And she's really good at production. She's really good at graphics and art, and understands what media is in today's world, and how to throw yourself at all of it and get stuff done. So she gets that. Now we have the gear between the two of us. Yeah, we got a TV show. We got Ghostbusters, man, and we do. So yeah, we're talking about it, and it's right now we're almost at the point of we don't have any excuses. So we're getting closer to getting something put together.
I hope so. That'd be really exciting, especially once we get our RVs. Jimmy's planning on getting one. I'm planning on getting one.
We've been talking about
really fun.
People need to know. Cristina and I have been talking about this for a couple of years. This is not some new discussion that's happening right now live. It's been going on for a while. But yes, the answer is yes, and we do make a good team. Yeah, it would be a lot of fun out there.
Yes,
all right, what's
and
next?
The good thing is that I'm a faster runner, so if anything happens, I'll just push Jimmy, and I'll be free. All right, our next question is by Android. It says, "Do you think the stonewalling by the Pentagon is increasing the chances of catastrophic disclosure?" That's a really good question, and I want to say yes. I think that'd be really exciting if that's the case. Or what if it's by design? I mean, in this field, people are very skeptical and they're always second guessing it because there's just so much misinformation and disinformation that I'd like for that to be the case, Android. Or is it all just distraction? Right?
Yeah, I probably. Okay, probably. I'm going to go 99.9% on this. That probably that there was somebody wrapping his fingers right across a pile of documents and videos and images going, okay, man, we're ready to go. We're ready. Catastrophic disclosure, right? The bomb just scorched earth, right?
Pretty much.
And just dump it. And I think that's where we are. I think the forces are kind of equal and pushing on each other right now. Those that want it and those that don't. And you know what I mean? And we're going like this. It's kind of equal. Where before the it's never going to happen group was 90%, right? And you had only a couple of people over it. But now it's kind of equal. You know, it's feeling that way. Let's do the dump. Let's just go. I think we're getting close. And catastrophic. It's not a scare. It's right now. It's the buzz term for sure. It's catastrophic, not in that the world is going to tip over. It's catastrophic in that the data dump is going to be alarming. That's the catastrophic part. That it's not going to be drip drip. It's going to be a dump truck. Just yeah. We can handle it.
I think so. I think we can handle it. All Work Low Pay says, "What's your favorite abduction story?" I'll let you go first.
Yeah. Am I going first on this one?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I just mentioned Travis Walton.
You did.
Whitley Strieber, strong. Betty and Barney Hill, right? Way up there. So there's many, 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 many others. So I think that those three are kind of equal. They've all stood the test of time. You know what I mean?
I think my favorite has to be one of the very first abduction stories that was recorded in modern time. And that was the one in Brazil with Antonio Villas-Boas. I feel like that one.
You like that story.
Strong.
Yeah, you like that story.
It's one of the first abductions and it's just so obscure. I mean, so much is happening in that story. And so that one might have to be kind of one of my like ones that are strong.
Pascagoula.
Ooh.
Yeah, Pascagoula. Yeah, yes. Pascagoula, so when something like that stands the test of time, where it's been picked apart and looked at and analyzed. When you look at the Pascagoula case and there's all kinds of other evidence that supports it. But the best part about that case is the tape that the police recorded. And so in that tape, they leave the interrogation room because they went to the police department, right? We've been abducted, right? Okay. So, but the police walk out, but they secretly are recording their conversation. And you go back and you listen to them. Dude, that was the craziest thing ever, man. I'm petrified. I cannot believe that happened. The conversation that they had between themselves privately is one of the biggest eye openers with that case. But Betty and Barney Hill stood the test of time. Travis Walton, test of time, right? Whitley Strieber, man, and Pascagoula, but Brazil has had a few different cases. That movie with Jacques Vallée, that abduction case when he went back and revisited the kid, and as he grew up, and that escapes me right now, but that was another pretty amazing case. I want to say that was Argentina. That wasn't Brazil. Okay, what's next?
All right, next question is by Chris James, and he says, do you think we will have full disclosure within the next 7 years? UFO disclosure.
I'm going 7 months on that one, Chris.
I hope so. See, I've been hearing these rumors that we're going to be getting some kind of disclosure in the next 12 to 16 months, starting that took place in January. And I'm like, okay, what is that happening every single year? We say, this is the year of disclosure, guys. Like, keep it together and watch everything. But it's been every year. And so do you think we're really going to get something in the next 7 months?
Yeah, I don't. I don't think, Cristina, it's technology that I think may do this. Now, yeah, it'd be great to have something show up over Los Angeles and it's on the news, right? And it's live streaming and everybody is Facebook and Twitter and Twitch and whatever. But yeah, there's that. There's the possibility of that. But I think it's the other side. Science and technology is starting to catch up with things. I had Mark Antonio on the show last night talking about this, and the ability to look at techno signatures and look into deep space. That's the part that it would force disclosure, right? Some crazy discovery. What happened 2 weeks ago, right? Front page news on all the networks. Dyson spheres detected, right? Now that was a headline. Tell me how that would have been a headline 10 years ago. It would have never made the wires. It would have never made the news, right? Today, that's where we are at. And it's on people's minds, and people want this information. So I could see something pretty big and pretty fantastic happening very, very soon. And there's going to be a catalyst that's going to force the hand of those that are in the know. It's going to be out of their control.
I'm going to have to hold you to that, Jimmy. I'll put your feet towards the fire for that one.
That's fine. I'm cool with it.
Swamp Gas says, both of you, classic time machine question. Where and when would you like to go, and what would you want to see?
You first.
So
I want to hear this.
No. I even thought
you only get one. You only get one. You only get one. Let's go. Oh, come on, Cristina.
I don't know. There's so many. I would really
You've thought about this a million times. A million times.
The thing that it's always changing. It's always depending on how I'm feeling that day. Today, I would say I would like to have met Nikola Tesla. Probably when he was maybe in his 30s and 40s, when he was making a lot of these inventions and stuff and having all his like paperwork written down. I think that's when I would like to go back in time, is to see his like how he got his information. What about you?
Wow, that's out of the box. Oh, there's only one answer for me.
What? Oh, can I guess it? Mimi, pick me.
Yeah, go ahead. You already know, so go ahead.
Okay. Is it to see the pyramids be built?
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
It's a good one.
It's and for me, right? Okay, so to not do that and to do something else, then there's a lot of choices. But the key though is you need to kind of know the date.
That's right.
Right? So it's a time machine, right? You're punching in the date, right? You want to go to the year, right? And you want to go and you punch it in and you hit the go button. So what if I go to 2650 BC, 2700 BC, and they're already there? Right? Oh, really? Okay. Now what? Do I time travel year by year by year by year by year by year and just go backwards? Do you jump back 1,000 years? What if what if you did something crazy? You wanted to see it like this. Okay, so you want to see the Great Flood. You want to see Göbekli Tepe. You want to see the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? That 10,700 BC year, right? The alignment of of Leo and all of that, right? 10,500 BC. And you go back and the pyramids are there. What do you, I mean, what do you, so I want to see them being built. So to do that, we need to know the year so I don't waste my golden ticket. Yeah. Okay. Next question.
All right. Okay.
These are great. This is fun, isn't it? This is fun.
These are really fun. You guys are asking really fantastic questions. We're going to try to speed through the rest of these, not giving as long answers because we only have about like 20 minutes left and still so many questions to answer. Starting off with Cindy, it says, what UFO book would you recommend? Okay, I'll go first. If you're a newbie, I would say UFOs for the 21st Century Mind by Richard Dolan. Really good book.
Okay. Yeah. Almost the same for me. I would say UFOs and the National Security State Volume 1 by Richard Dolan. But
Shout out to Richard.
But a tie. I'm going to go tie. I'm going to go Extraterrestrial by Avi Loeb. Ooh. I think is a must read.
Ooh, okay. If we're going to put in a second one, I'll have to say Cosmic American by Dr. Diana Pasulka.
Yeah, it's also pretty good. That's also pretty good.
That one's really good.
You know the thing about that. Okay, then we'll move on to questions. But here's the thing. That book, which I have read 10 times.
Wow.
Okay. Really, that's a page turner because it's her adventure story. That's her adventure story. He did everything in that book. So we go out to, so the next day we went to, and then the next week we flew out to, and then we did that, and then this person was there. That's an adventure tale. Yeah, it gets into religion and dogma from her. She's a religious scholar, and I appreciate that part of it for sure. But wow, what a life, right? That's a page turner, man. That's a good movie. Okay, next question.
All right, and Brian, thank you for that. It says apocalypse translates roughly to disclosure. I've heard that. I've heard that before, so thank you for bringing that up again. Peace says, Cristina, have you had any more dreams about UFO? So I mentioned this on a podcast a few days ago that in the last few weeks I've had several UFO sighting dreams that I knew that I know were dreams because then I would attempt to explain it to someone in my dream and I'm like, wait, that was a dream. But how these dreams turn out, and I'm not really a big dream interpreter, that's just me, but sometimes if they tell me like, hey, don't eat that bread and it's in the morning, I'm like, okay, I'm going to throw it in the trash. I had that dream before as well, but that's besides the point. The point being is with these UFO dreams that I've had, I'll see like 5 to 7 UFOs in the sky and they have these spotlights and I'm seeing them and they're seeing me. And then somehow I start explaining it to someone else exactly what I'm seeing. I didn't take a picture or a video like a silly person. And then I wake up very disappointed and a little bit confused. So now you know.
Now, most would say, okay, we'll get right back to the questions. Most would say that is telling you something. That you can't dismiss it so easily, and especially that it is repeating itself. So just keep us updated. You never know. It might not even be the veil that's lifting with this. It might not even have anything to do with UFOs. Something else. All right. Exposure to knowledge. So keep us posted on that. And if you have another UFO dream tonight. Yeah. Just listen to Fade to Black while you head to bed.
That will definitely infiltrate the dreams of seeing UFOs everywhere. And Jet says, question for you both. How did you meet each other? Okay, I'll answer this one. I used to be a big Fade to Black fan, also a Coast to Coast fan. And when I used to travel, when I was younger with my dad, we would listen to Jimmy and George Norrie or when Jimmy was on Coast to Coast. And so then when I started podcasting, I was already a fan and I was like, Jimmy, I really want you to be on the show. And by this time we had a mutual friend by the name of Micah Hanks, one of the creators of the Debrief.
Right. That's right.
And so then that's kind of how we met. It was through Micah. I was able to get Jimmy's contact, but I've always been a fan of his work.
Okay, so and my answer is different. My answer
Oh,
is different. No, hers is right. Hers is right. Mine's just different.
it's just other right.
Yeah, it's another version of right. We haven't met.
No.
Okay, so have Christina and I been on the same street? No. Okay, so we haven't met. Now that's so Christina. She's never told me this coast to coast thing. That's pretty cool. I dig that. So back, I had moved. My ex and I split up, and I moved to Northern California, and I moved the studio up there before I got this place. And so, but at that time, I was filming a movie. I was getting my TV show ready. The movie was The Observers. The UAP task force was cranking off, and all of these things were happening at the same time. And one of my resources were my friends over at the debrief. And so I was on the debrief every day, and I'm just waiting for, and Christina just brought up Micah Hanks. And so I see Christina doing stuff for the debrief, and
I
she
used to
caught
work
my
for
eye.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so that's how I was introduced to Christina, was through the debrief. And with all of this craziness that was happening at that time, the first report was getting ready to come out, and all of the stuff. And Christina had a way for me. And I remember, I think I called Micah. I called somebody over there and said, I want to get a hold of Christina. I'd like to get her on the show. But my take was, and this is what I had said to everybody over at the debrief. I talked to everybody about Christina, that it's a fresh take for the community. It's a new perspective. It's a new face. It's something that we need right now, and it's a really great move. And then so she's doing her thing on her side, right? I'm doing my thing on my side, and eventually the universe brought us together.
Yep. And then ever since then, Jimmy has been my mentor. He's helped me even like set up a microphone, how to be more confident. And the best advice he ever gave me is your next show is always going to be better than your last show. And when I first started, I was so nervous. I was very scared to display my stutter to the internet, and my speech impediment, which has improved significantly since then. But I was very scared, and so I was always hesitant to like share my opinion and things like that. And Jimmy's like, "I want to hear your opinion. Just lay it out." And I'm like, "No one's ever told me that before." So Jimmy's really helped me just kind of move forward in a positive way, and to also gain that confidence. So thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, right on. And just great question. Okay, let's keep. That's
All right.
it. That's that we haven't met, but that's how we met. Okay,
Right.
answer. Right there you go.
And Stephen, thank you for that. So we're gonna keep going speedy through these. John, if you're not gonna patent that or copyright that, I will. The Puck Busters. That's amazing. Okay.
I dig that. I dig
Yes.
that.
Yes. Okay, Tyler has a question, and it says, what is a pattern with UFOs that you've both noticed that you haven't heard many or any others mention yet? That's a great question, Tyler. But you always bring in good questions.
Ooh. Okay. I'm gonna jump in first.
Okay.
I don't like talking about this. And I'll tell you why. Because it's a great question, and I think everybody should think about this. But I'm different than most of you. So I'm at the center of the wheel. Here's the wheel. Here's the spoke. So I'm at the center. So if I speak about something, it goes to everybody. And I don't want. So if you're not here as an individual and you're
Jimmy, I'm so sorry. I do not mean to cut you off, but I'm going to do it anyway. Your connection is so bad and you're sounding robotic, like something from Doctor Who. Yeah. And you're pixelated on screen.
What?
Yeah. Maybe unplug your Ethernet cable and plug it back in.
No, I'm looking here. I'm selling. I'm
Oh,
selling. So
you're sounding like a robot.
really, not here. Okay, so what? Come back. Okay.
Okay. All right. So while he's doing that stuff, Tyler, I'm gonna answer your question. And well, actually, what I've gotten an email about recently is talking about the percentage of people seeing flying saucers. While we talk about UFOs and we imagine flying saucers today, over the last few, let's say like the last like decade and a half or so, people aren't seeing the amount of flying saucers as they used to. We're seeing other shapes, more so like orbs or like tic tac slash cigar shaped objects, which is really interesting. That's not a pattern that I've seen per se, but it is something that is definitely worth mentioning that hasn't been spoken about a lot, but I think in between our groups, it's been a bit of a conversation. But Jimmy, what about yourself? You're in perfect clear view now.
Am I? Am I?
Yeah. Yes.
What I was saying is, I don't like to talk about this because I have too much influence, and
Okay.
I don't want to contaminate other people's experiences with something. Now, if it's glaring and it's obvious, okay. So the one thing because everything is also a little bit different. But
Right.
if there's one thing that to me is consistent with some of the more amazing things that I have seen personally, this is just personally, is appearing and then disappearing in front of your eyes. Right now, that's pretty crazy, because if it's a physical craft, right, it's an airplane, it's a helicopter, it's a SpaceX launch, it doesn't phase in and phase out, right? Our brain is used to seeing the car go down the road, right? Okay, the car doesn't appear in front of you and then disappear in front of you. So your brain, no, and to see something appear and then disappear in the sky in front of you is very compelling to me. Very compelling. And I think that it's different races, different species, different civilizations that are visiting this planet. Some of these probably don't even know each other, right? Yeah, that's a high probability right there. But they're doing it the same way. They've tapped into a technology that we don't understand yet, Christina. And that's what we're seeing. So is it interdimensional, right? The buzzword
Seems
that
to be.
everybody, yeah, everybody wants to use. Well, yeah, portal could be, wormhole could be, parallel world could be, multiverse injection could be. I don't know, but that consistency, I've seen it, with hundreds of people saying, you see something like that happen, and then you see it repeat and repeat and repeat. I think that is one of the, Tyler just said portal could be, could be.
You're saying all the buzzwords right there in that one sentence. It's like my eyes are just getting bigger. Getting on to our next one by Leafy, and it says, "Is there a single UFO event or abduction case that you believe is false?"
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Oh geez. Yeah. How to just inflame the world. Let's just bring that subject up, right? But here's the thing with that. I'm not going to answer. And the reason why is that there are even in things that I think are complete BS, right? Just have been proven, right? There are still people that believe, and they're not going to, no matter what you present, you're not going to change their mind. And the list of that is really, really long. And in a lot of cases, they were things that I had a lot of faith in it at one point, and then something wavered and something broke, and I stopped. But what I did find out, Christina, is when I would talk about this stuff on the air, and then suddenly my email or the army that is out there, and somebody, okay, man, let's all attack Jimmy. Let's all go. Let's go. It's just not worth it to me. And it's also brings up, just a lot of negativity. My advice, and you can answer the question if you want, Christina, but my advice is, as in anything, squinty eyes. That's what you do. Squinty eyes. Yeah. Squinty eyes. Okay. All right. And then let it, whatever happens, happens. But that's what you've got to do with anything, even with the stuff that I say. Squinty eyes. Squinty eyes. Are you gonna roll the dice and tell everybody a case that you think is false?
There isn't a particular case, but I will say this. What I might think is false could actually be real and vice versa. This topic is so convoluted and it's so difficult that we don't actually have all the answers. And yes, there's going to be people that are going to come up to you and they're going to lie right in front of your face, or they're going to go on record and lie. And it's disappointing, but because we don't always have all the background information that we need, it's difficult to make a full-on conclusion that they're telling the truth or that they're lying. And that's the big difference between being a skeptic and being a debunker. It is healthy to be a skeptic and to ask questions. It sucks if you're a debunker where no matter how much information you receive, you're the only one that's right. Everyone else is wrong. And, I don't want to have conversations with people like that. I'm open-minded to all the possibilities. And while it's a very cliche answer, it's an answer that is an appropriate one for this topic. Because if you haven't experienced it for yourself, right, it's hard to say if it's real or not. Next one is from Skyhawk, and it says, what are both of your thoughts on the crypto-terrestrial hypothesis? And this
Another
is by
new one. Yeah.
And this is by Dr. Masters, right?
Yeah.
And you've had him on. Have you spoken to him about this?
I have. Michael P. Masters. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one thing that you have to accept. Me, you, Cristina, and everybody in this audience, everybody on this planet, and everything in the universe. Everything is probable. Everything that can happen will eventually. It could happen now. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen in 1,000 years. But whatever it is, it will happen. So everything is possible. Everything is probable. That's it. Not everything. So if you bring in the crypto-terrestrial theory, and with anybody else that has a theory, you want to base your theory on the collection of research that you've done, right? And then you come up with an idea. It's a theory, right? A hypothesis, and you support it with more stuff, and you make it stronger and stronger. When we get into that kind of zone, of course, and it's also one of the most probable probables. It is. It's the question of an extraterrestrial race coming here, or us from the future, or something that is already living here among us and was here before us. These kinds of, the crypto-terrestrial idea, which is multifaceted, by the way. It's not specifically one thing, but that very high probabilities there. I mean, very, 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 very high, in addition to everything else that's going on.
I think that was a pretty summed up good answer. And Francis asks, why Grush isn't the new head of Arrow? Do you think okay, well, let's rephrase that question.
That's actually great. That's actually great.
Do you think David Grush would be a good chief for Arrow?
Or somebody like Rush. Yes.
Or somebody like Rush. Okay.
Yeah. Somebody that has a basic grasp and understanding of the phenomenon, right? Sean Kirkpatrick didn't give a crap. He didn't know. He didn't care. He didn't have any historical right. He didn't have any of that. I guarantee you, right now, as a matter of fact, he would lose the 100 question test about Betty and Barney Hill. He might get one answer right out of 100 questions. Okay? He doesn't have, and you know what? And so the question he would get right is, were they abducted? Is it life after death? Or did they crash with Amelia Earhart? Oh,
Hopefully he gets
they
that
were
one right.
abducted. That's the one question he would get right. Right. So he's just the wrong. You need somebody in that position that is open to all possibilities and has a historical reference and guide point to go on. Kirkpatrick was the wrong guy for the job. So would Grush would, may be pretty excellent for it, but he also may be too biased. But you need somebody that is in that position, that is wide open to all possibilities and understands the history of the phenomenon.
That would be ideal, but it seems that consistently with all the UFO offices that have been provided to the public that we know the faces, none of them seem to care. We had Brian Moultrie for the for the AOI MSG, right? Then we had Kirkpatrick as well, and there was just this theme amongst themselves of, I can't talk to you about this, I can do it behind closed doors, I don't know about this, it's not in my purview, and all of this nonsense. And yes, they are doing a job, but if you're going to provide information to the public, at least give us someone that actually cares about it. That would be ideal. And to have someone like Grush to be the new chief of Arrow, that would be very significant. Or even the chief of the NASA UFO group. That would also be fantastic. But it seems that across the United States, and I'm going to throw Canada into this, they're just having people that don't care about the topic, and they're just there for a narrative more so than anything else.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And but here's the other part though. The conversations and the questions that are coming up in this chat and our answers have been repeated for decades. We're in a position right now where I'm telling you, this is historical. This is nothing new. I can pull up right now. Watch this. Just watch how I do this. I'm going to pull up. This is Donald Kehoe. Okay. In 1960. 1960. You know how long ago that is? 65 years ago. Okay.
It's a National Academy of Sciences has put 1/10 as much time into investigating these things and collecting reports from competent people, finding daylight sightings of machines, not ordinarily light seen at night in the sky, formation, changing formation, radar scopes showing the formations and showing objects switch from one to the other, all of which were neatly classified by Air Force regulation. If they spent any time looking into it, they wouldn't have made that statement. Now, I was a skeptic too. It took me almost a year before I thought anything about it. And that happened.
Now, so think about what he just said right there.
It was a little bit difficult to understand, but I kind of got the overall idea of what he
said. We need science to look into the phenomenon. And if science would look at just a little bit of the evidence that we have, then their statements would be different and the government statements would be different on this. But we don't have that. And that's the same argument that we're having today. That's the same thing that Avi Loeb is just shouting from the mountaintop, right? Science, science, science. Let's get the data. Let's collect the data. Let's put science behind this. We need to all get together, our big brains, and apply science to this and figure out what's going on. That is 1960. It's a press conference, a live press conference. And it was just so funny. What you didn't hear there was clipped off in the beginning was the reporter, right? Are you frustrated with the military's take on UFOs today? Yeah. It's Don Keogh. And Don Keogh would be a good choice for something like Arrow. He would be amazing, right? A military guy who had his mind changed over the evidence, right? And it's so funny when he says in here, if we had scientists look at the radar data, this would be a brave new world. But they won't. And it's the same argument that we're having in 2024, Cristina. So yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy.
It's disappointing in all reality that we've had this interest since Roswell, 1947, right? Up until today, and we're still attempting to answer the same questions with no real move forward. I can see why people would describe it as disheartening, or that they're losing that fuel to their own fire. But it's when we have these conversations and we speak to the people that we do these live shows, I think it does make a difference. And so I'm very grateful that we're able to do this together. Thank you.
Yeah. So much fun. Well, so you bring up Roswell, and I know we're 10 minutes over, everybody, but you bring up Roswell. Here's Don Keogh in 1960 speaking to the press about evidence. He didn't know about Roswell.
That's right.
Right. And if the cover up that started, because today, right, once the Roswell lid started to, once that door was open, 1980 to 1990, that was a crazy 10-year run with everybody that was working on this, Don Schmidt and Stanton Friedman and everybody that was a part of it back then, is this. The paper trail that was going on between the White House, the FBI, the Army Air Corps, Army Air Force. It was before the Air Force was created. Okay. The CIA was not created yet. OSS was there, but the CIA was created later in 1947. But the amount of paperwork about the flying crash disc in Roswell being flown to Fort Worth and then on to Wright Pat. That so much but it was squashed. And so you have a guy like Don Keogh, right? And Newfork and everything that they were putting together back then, and their efforts for this never mentioned Roswell. Right? And it's fascinating to me that today that case is so big, and we can go back and reference it and look at it. There's always new stuff with it too, as well. It's just too big of a cover up that it's not going to stay hidden forever. But that's how impressive the machine is. People need to realize that there was no mention of Roswell after the Roswell Daily Records, right? Weather balloon story, the debunking, which came out the next day. Once that happened, that story was squashed.
When we consider it, and I know people are kind of tired of hearing Roswell, but one piece of information that isn't spoken about a lot is that the government, the Air Force, they succeeded at squashing Roswell for a handful of decades before Friedman and a few others were saying and thinking and researching what happened, what was going on. And so we got that information, in the 80s? So so for like 30 plus years, nobody knew about it. And now it is the most famous case of all time when it pertains to a UFO sighting, a UFO crash, a UFO cover up, all of these different facets. But for 30 years, It was in the dark. It was in the shadows. No one knew about it. And I think that has to be one of the more enticing details about Roswell, aside from obviously all the things that we know about it, is that it was covered up for 30
It
something
almost,
years.
if Jesse Marcel hadn't have done his thing at the reunion, we would have, we probably never would have heard about it. In 1955, there probably, in my opinion, certainly one of the greatest UFO documentaries ever made was made in 1955. And with exclusive footage of UFOs and everybody's in it. It's an incredible documentary. And go and watch that. Now, they cover Mount Rainier, the flying saucer. They cover all the 1952 UFO flap over Washington D.C. They do a recreation of the radar room, and they have all of the quotes and the real people in this documentary. This and so anyway, they don't mention Roswell. You got to really stop and think about that this documentary, which was so explosive in 1955, and go and watch it. Like I said, it's one of the best ever made. Go and watch it, and watch the disclosures that they do at the beginning, at the end of the film, and who they thank and how it's done. But go and watch that. It is the most complete up to that point documentary on the subject in a very, very pragmatic, scientific way. It's an excellent documentary. They don't mention Roswell. Roswell was front newspaper, crashed flying saucer found on ranch, right? That right there. No mention of it in this documentary in 1955. And if you go Long John Nebel, and if you've got another question, might as well keep this going for a few more minutes. Long John Nebel had the biggest radio show in the world, even bigger than Coast to Coast, where they would do about 50 million people a night. It was called the Party Line, and it ran from the early 50s until 1972, 1973. After Long John had died, his wife had taken over the show, but it ended in like 73. But that show was so big, and I just played you Don Kehoe, right? Don Kehoe was on his show a lot, and that's what they covered. They covered UFOs. They did the paranormal. They did ghosts. They did all kinds of stuff, but they would have people call in. They had a row of the operators with the plugs plugging in, right? And all these phones, and it was great. It was a huge show. WOR out of New York, Long John Nebel. He had every guest. He had everybody that you can imagine. Everybody was on that show. They talk about Nazi UFOs. They talk whatever. They talk about everything except Roswell. And that show was on for 20 years.
Wow.
20 years. Number one, biggest radio show in the world. That's it. Long John Nebel never mentioned Roswell. Not once. I can't say. That's how big the cover up was. And he had everybody on that show.
That's unbelievable.
Okay, couple more quick questions.
All right. We'll make this last just a few more minutes. If you have any questions, put them in all caps, and we will read them and try to answer them to the best of our ability. All right. I'll give people just a few moments to put in their last minute questions. And Jimmy, while we're waiting for that, I have a question for you. Out of all the shows that we've done together in the last 2-something years, what has been your favorite topic that we covered? And it can't be all of them. You got to give me one. Your favorite topic that we've covered.
I like when we go historical.
Like go back.
Not that well, yeah. No, we do a lot of things about cryptids, things in the sky, locations and stuff in the Middle Ages and stuff. I really enjoy those shows. those are a lot of fun, and doing that research into that. I mean, for me, remember when we did that show when we covered the strange sightings in France and Switzerland and Italy all in the same month? Remember that? And we had the
Yes, when we covered, yes.
yeah, you remember that? Okay. So when you tie that kind of stuff together in a historical perspective, and you look at the artists that were, and we did the stuff on China too, you remember? And
China, Russia, parts of
right,
Europe, South
right.
America. Yeah.
That what is it that in those years, right? In the year 1500, in the year 1300, what are they seeing in the sky? And seeing it. So it was, you remember Basel, Switzerland, Nice, France, right?
Yes.
And then Italy, and they're all seeing this same thing. They're all writing about it. So obviously there's something going on in the skies, and they're so important that it makes it into the local newspaper, right? Or whatever you want to call it back then. And but as somebody that's researching today, you have to. What other conclusion can you come to? It's not a bird. It's not an insect. The balloons were not invented yet, right? It's certainly not anything else man-made. So what is it that they are seeing in the skies? And so I really enjoy those shows.
Those are very fun, going really far back. I think we did a show. It was UFO sightings that took place before the Wright brothers' first plane. That was
that
show.
was a good show. That was, I think that's what it was called.
I really like that one. All right. So we have a bunch more questions, and we're going over time today. So this one's by Android, and it says, "What's the most underrated UFO incident?" I'm going with Penn Turk. That's what he says. I'm going to say my favorite case of all time, and that's the Colares, Brazil incident in 1977. Not a lot of people know about it. It's not mentioned in a lot of documentaries and books. I think that's underrated, and I think it's a fantastic case.
Okay, so I'm going to pop this up in the chat.
Okay.
It's 1956, by the way.
What's 1956?
The documentary. Somebody just asked in the chat. So let me pull this back over here. I've got multiple screens, everybody. I don't have the comfort of okay, wait a minute. I lost. Where is the, I don't have, okay, I'm gonna have to click on, oh, there it is. Got it, everybody. I had to find Cristina and I. Okay, here it is. Boom. There it is. It's up in the chat. It's up in the chat. What was the name of the documentary? Okay, so that's up in the chat right now. Okay, man, look at all these questions. Thoughts on Skinwalker Ranch? It's real. Okay, let's get as many questions in. Just say it's real, Cristina.
Okay.
It's real.
There's some crazy stuff going on there, but there's other places across the world that are having similar anomalies take place there. So there's another one, and it says, Emo says, "What's going on with the RV trip? Life is happening, man, and I'm behind. I'm behind, but I'm still planning on getting the RV, but it's just going behind schedule. So when I know, you'll know. But man, I'm crying on the inside for that one." Marty says, "Any regrets in doing a show that you care to share? Like, have you ever regretted saying something or doing something that you were like, man, I wish I didn't do that?"
Every show I say something. Every show there's some, that's what I love, Cristina. Not only that question, but the challenge of doing something live. You take something and you edit the crap out of it, and by the time, and you got to look perfect, and the lighting and every vowel and everything has got to be correct. So you're just seeing, it's like processed foods. It's like Cheese Whiz by the time you get it. Live, there's tension.
Oh, yeah.
Right. There's tension, and I love that. I thrive on that. But here's the problem with it. Words will come out of my mouth. I'll see them in front of me. I try to catch them, right, and pull them back in, but it's too late. And I do it every show. And you know what? That's part of doing things live. And
I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I have those same feelings, those same thoughts, and I'm like, it's too late.
But people know. That's honesty. Yeah, people know that's honesty. Yeah, that's all. That's all it is. It's real. It's not something that's ultra processed. It's not. It's just honest, and there's a certain tension there. Once you get past, and you're really good at this now. You used to work at it, right? But now you don't think about it as much. In that, what you're really good at now is getting your thought to your lips and into the microphone. You're really good at that. You used to think too much.
I did, and my brain.
You were worried. You were and but that's part of it. When you're doing stuff live, is this has to happen instantaneous. It's got to be pop, 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 and people pick up on that. They know it's unfiltered. It's okay. Mistakes. You know what? It's like a guitar solo, right? So Eddie Van Halen, Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, pick somebody, Dimebag Darrell, Randy Rhoads, pick somebody. Up there, there's Steve Vai playing a guitar solo and fluffs a note, right? Okay, well, so what? It's what you play next that matters. It's what you say next that matters. So yeah, those words come out and you're like, okay, but it's what you say next, right? And how you follow up on that. And I think that's what's most important. And people see that. They feel the honesty. It's genuine.
We're going to finish off with this last question by John, and it says, what would you do if you came face to face with an extraterrestrial? I'm going to hand that one over to Jimmy first.
I mean, what kind?
See, that's what I was thinking as well.
What kind? Some octopus-faced dude with teeth that are round, and he's coming at you like this, and he's about to bite your head off? Well, I run. Now, if it's something that is not freaking me out, and they have honest eyes, right? and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, just as long as there isn't anything offensive. When I say not offensive said, offensive like aggressive in nature, right? As long as that's not happening, let's go. Let's have a conversation. Let's try to communicate. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I don't run. How about you?
I have very similar thoughts. If it's a 6-foot flying cockroach, man, I'm running so fast and then curling up into a ball and crying, okay, simultaneously. But if it's something that we've kind of spoken about or we've seen drawings of, or it looks somewhat more humanoid, I think it's a lot easier for the brain to process. And then especially, I'd like to think, right, that many of us are able to kind of feel out if the person has, or the entity has, good or bad intentions, right? And then kind of going from there. And if it all goes well, man, instantly offering them snacks and drinks. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that is the only way to make friends, is through food. Yeah, it works every time. So that's what I would definitely be doing, but also considering if our food is poison to them. And I'll say, have you had this before? And if so, here you go. If not, maybe use your super high technology scanner to see if you can eat it or not.
Wouldn't that be funny? They drink our water and they spit it out. That's bad water. You know what I mean? Or what? It's just
and then
something.
Say it's essentia. Like that is some good expensive water. Put that back in your mouth, like buddy.
Yeah. Pellegrino, right? Oh man, Cristina, great show, great idea. Cristina, last night, everybody, I had wrapped on Fade to Black, and I was doing something, and it was late, and she texted me. She said, "Are you up?" And I said, "I am." And she goes, "All right." So she calls. She goes, "You want to do an AMA?" Yeah, I do. And so that's it's a great idea, Cristina. And I know that I really enjoyed it. I hope the audience enjoyed it as much as I did. and we should do this more often.
Yeah, it was our first one that we've been able to do together. And I agree. It was very fun. We had a lot of really great questions. So thank you, everyone that participated and submitted their questions in, because many of you had some really stellar questions. Jimmy, thank you so much for being on today. A day early as well. It's not even Thursday, it's Wednesday. Who do you have on Fade to Black today before you head out?
Richard Smith tonight, the UFO teacher. Yeah, Richard Smith.
Nice.
We're going to be doing some ancient discussions, ancient sites, connections, but also disclosure and contact and where we are today and everything else. He's just a figure and a pillar of knowledge with this. It's going to be a great conversation. So I'll see everybody tonight. If I don't, have a great, safe, fun, and amazing 4th of July. Cristina, to you too as well. And I'll see everybody tonight. See you later. Thanks.
Thank you. It's a great show. We were able to do it early, as tomorrow is the 4th of July. And for those watching this, please hit that like button right down below, if and only if you enjoyed the show, and subscribe if you haven't already. There will not be strange news this Friday, as I will be working for the 4th of July, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and every other day of the week. So we won't be able to do the show this week, but don't worry, I will make up for it next week, as the shows right here are most of the time, like 99% of the time, live. Before you head out, scan this QR code. That will take you to all of my social media links and to my website, where I do write articles for all the shows that take place right here, or you can find that link in the description box below. The description box is your friend. You'll find some great information there, so please read it if you haven't already. That is it for today. I will see you next time. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the sky.